Welcome to Double Take, a program dedicated to delivering only the finest of gaming discourse.
So, noob, how's Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yeah, it's pretty good so far. I've got some complaints about the story, though. Sora never kisses Riku. Pete never kisses Sephiroth.
Well, guess who just came up with a new idea for some fan art?
Just start the show already.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Double Take.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm your co-host, DJ J Star,
And I'm DJ Noob, and we're joined by a guest today. Introduce yourself.
DJ Dunscap in the building.
DJ
What is
Dunscap.
up, everybody?
That's the first time I've heard your DJ name,
But
actually.
that's the first time you've... That's your
Oh,
actual...
there's going to be different names coming soon, so I'm like a chameleon. I'll be switching.
That's good. That's a good gimmick. You
Yeah.
should do that more.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, how's your week been so far, guys?
so far pretty good.
Trash.
Trash? Why? What's wrong?
Oh, no, nothing's wrong. I'm just mad.
Oh, yeah.
I
I'm the
don't
same
know.
way,
I
so
don't
I
know.
understand.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Could be better,
we're in
but...
the age of apathy,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
you gotta embrace it.
I know that feel. I know that feel completely, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
You're feeling, I feel. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna get started with the show today. First thing I want to talk about is that
I think first we have to say something.
Oh,
Disclaimer.
Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I almost
Yes.
forgot. So first things first. Let me read this real quick. The views, comments, and opinions expressed on the show are those of individuals and not necessarily shared by Griffin Radio, the Media Communications Department, Grossmont College, or the Grossmont-Cuyamaca Community College District. This podcast is copyrighted by Griffin Radio and Grossmont College, 2019. Thank you.
All right.
There we go.
All right, and with that out of the way, let's get started.
All right. What do we got today?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I've been playing a lot of Devil May Cry 5 this week since it came out last Friday, or last Thursday, actually.
Yeah.
I've watched some gameplay of it. It looks really good. It looks tight.
It is super sweet, dude. I love it. It's probably my favorite Devil May Cry game, and that's saying a lot because the Devil May Cry games are usually pretty good, with the exception of 2.
An exception to 2.
Yeah, nobody likes 2.
It came out on PS2, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reboot. Nobody talks about the reboot because,
What reboot? There was never a reboot.
I did not know there was a
Oh, yeah.
reboot about number 2.
Did you really not? No, not number 2. It's Devil May Cry in
Oh,
general.
no.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
That's the one where they changed up Dante's appearance, right?
That's the one where Dante's like this super edgy, like he's like this like vulgar edgelord, and the game has like this really like ham-handed social commentary about like the media controlling people. It's so bad. Like,
Not even about demons.
It's dumbed down. It's fine. It plays fine, but it's
fine.
like it's not as good. It's just a dumbed down, worse version of Devil May Cry. That's why nobody liked it.
Damn.
Gotcha.
Devil May Cry 5 though is amazing. I love that game. It's so stylish. It's so fun. It's so skillful. It's funny as hell.
I want to buy it, but I'm broke.
Yeah.
So
I
There's
would buy
time.
it too.
I'm
but
saving up money for
There's
a different
time.
game.
It's a
Yeah.
single player game, so it's not there's any rush to get in there and like.
But I heard there's like microtransactions going on with the orbs.
There are, but they're actually not that bad. They're
I
like
mean, you can grind for them, right?
they're very easy to
Alright,
get.
cool.
They're-
But why
it's-
even propose those prices? That's what I'm saying.
It's probably because they were forced. That's one thing I actually want to talk about. It feels
Okay.
like the microtransactions were kind of forced.
Right.
And so to make up for it, they made the game like a lot easier in some cases. Like there used to be this item called gold orbs,
Yes.
and what they would do is that when you died, they would revive you,
Oh, okay.
and they used to be really rare. But now they're everywhere.
remember
They're
those,
really
yeah.
easy to find,
okay.
and it feels like they put them there. They made them easy to find to sort of like avoid having to make people spend money on microtransactions.
Okay, that makes sense.
So to kind of
So-
smooth
That
it
makes
over.
sense.
Yeah,
a bit.
so there are microtransactions, and that does suck, but they're the least intrusive. Like, I forgot they were in there completely until you reminded me about them right now. Like they're so, they're so out of the way that it's like they're not even there.
Yeah, it's slick. They're slick though.
They are.
They put it on
yeah.
there.
That's Capcom for you, though, man. Capcom's got
Capcom.
some.
Capcom's been really doing good this past year. They've been on the bounce back.
They have been. They've been releasing a lot of quality games. Resident Evil 7, the Resident Evil 2 remake, Monster Hunter World,
And of course,
Devil May Cry 5.
Monster Hunter is dope.
Yeah, Monster Hunter is dope. I love World. It's really, really good. That's probably the best Monster Hunter game too,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
Let's get right on to
Let's
it.
get right onto it.
Let's
Yeah.
get right onto it. What do we got? What do we got on the shelf today?
So the thing we're talking about with Devil May Cry 5 is that there's this really, I don't want to say it's controversial, but it's very confusing. There's this really weird censorship that's going on, and it's only in the PS4 American version for some reason.
Of course, it's the American version.
Yeah, that's America for you. But yeah, so there's this really like awkward scene. I noticed it. I thought it was really weird when I was playing the game, and I noticed it too. But I didn't know it was only in the PS4 American version, and that's the. There's two scenes that have lens flare covering up like a lady's butt in it. So there's this character. There's these characters, Trish and Lady, and when you find them, when you rescue them because they've been like imprisoned by monsters, They're naked
Oh wow.
for some reason. Yeah. And so you don't see anything, but you do get there is like shots of their like butts,
Of
and
course
there's this like really like weird out of place lens flare over their butts for some reason, and it's only like for 3 seconds, so it's very like I said, it's not like it kills the game. The game that's not what the game's about. The game's about the gameplay, and the gameplay's amazing.
And the
It's gonna be
story.
fun.
And again, we got
characters.
people, keeping observations about stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah, but it's the thing that makes it's just one of those things where it's just really confusing as to why they did it, because it's only, like I said, it's only in the PS4 American version.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And every other console is fine. So everybody's like, they're not really upset, but they're trying to understand why they went this route with it.
American video game companies, not just Sony. There's always been a history. Like if a Japanese game comes out in here, certain companies would want to censor stuff.
There's always been localization issues because Japan is they're very culturally different from America. So there's things that are like.
So it's mostly on PlayStation games then.
It's mostly because of Sony's censorship. Well, it's mostly the localization issue is because of Japanese games in general, because they have a lot of things that America doesn't find.
Oh, of course, you already know. We're babies, We got to be babied a lot.
Yeah.
We got to censor some butts.
America. Yeah, some people are like that, but
A lot of the
there are cases where it is sort of justified. I'm sorry, J-Star.
it's all right.
There are cases where it's sort of justified. Like Japan has a problem with a lot of underage girls being in their games.
no.
So
That's a different topic.
Yeah,
That's a whole other topic on a whole other day.
Those are the cases where the censorship is okay, you can kind of see where they're going with it, and they kind of agree with it.
Sure, yeah.
But stuff like the Devil May Cry 5 is just confusing.
Yeah, it's a rated M game.
It's an M-rated game.
It's
for
an
adults.
M-rated game. Yeah. If Devil May Cry 5 was rated T or something, I would understand the censorship.
exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. It's a rated T game. It's rated T for teen. But if it's rated M for adults, then that means it's adults playing it.
If you were to saw that in Kingdom Hearts, then yeah, I'd have a problem because Kingdom Hearts is
Kingdom
one
Hearts
game, and I don't want to see that.
Kingdom Hearts is a
kiddie game.
It's a kiddie game.
It's designed for
It's
kids.
for kids. It's for babies,
But
guys.
it's a great game for that game. If I saw
it's
that,
a great game for the gameplay. Yeah.
if I saw a bus in Kingdom Hearts, then
I don't
it's
know.
a goner.
Kingdom Hearts. Yeah.
I know censorship is pretty prominent when it comes to Nintendo and stuff, and Nintendo games coming from Japan to America, and a lot of censorship is prevalent in that. But Nintendo games are more for kids and stuff, so it makes sense to have the censorship. But
Nintendo has that family-friendly approach, so that you kind of understand it from there. Even though I think they're lying, they've been slowly They've been slowly sexualizing their characters for a while now.
yeah,
Have you seen Zero Suit Samus in Smash Ultimate?
Hey
course.
man,
I mean they
hey.
I don't know. I see a lot of lines change, especially in games like Pokemon and Fire Emblem. They changed a lot of the lines in there to fit American
it
guidelines.
It makes the dialogue worse, in my opinion.
At the end of the
I've
day,
seen those, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, what I was gonna say, I just lost my train of thought. I don't know. At the end of the day, censorship is gonna keep happening. It's up to us to keep calling it out. I guess.
Yes. Well, that's what I kind of wanted to talk about. Where
I mean, there's reasonable censorship. Don't get me wrong.
there is reasonable censorship,
But for games like this,
typically my line on censorship is that as long as it's or my line on censorship is that as long as the game is not doing anything illegal,
correct.
or it's not low quality, low effort garbage that's trying to spark a controversy. There was a game I was going to talk about today, but I decided not to.
We don't want to give that one any more attention
we
than
don't
it
want to give
already
it any
has.
exposure. It's not because I don't like the subject matter. It's because the game it's very obviously it's this really garbage. It looks like garbage. It looks like a terrible game.
A lot of games look like garbage.
It's designed to stir up some controversy
and
get money.
I wouldn't be surprised if the guy put it on Steam just to try to get controversy and get attention to it.
Okay, now I know
that
what
sort
we're
of
talking
thing.
about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's something like that, I don't mind it being banned or taken down. If it's not doing anything, if it's doing something illegal, if it's encouraging violent behavior or something like that, if it's not just because there's a difference between having violence and sexual themes and encouraging that sort of behavior.
Exactly.
And if it falls into the encouraging side where it's doing something illegal, then that's fair game. I think it's fine to take that
you just
down.
got to be crazy to make a game like that. You just got to be totally too far gone.
And sometimes the censorship
pretty crazy.
Sometimes censorship, not just in video games but in general in America, can be pretty wild. I'll give one example right now. We both are fans of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yes.
And the main character Jotaro, he smokes cigarettes, and they blacked out the cigarette smoke.
Yeah,
it's think about it.
It's not just
dark.
It's his entire face is black. It's like a void appears over his face when he smokes a cigarette.
Yeah, and people are saying wait,
Serious?
why are they censoring it? It's just him smoking a cigarette. People see that all the time. You see that going out to Walmart all the time.
It's a mature anime.
Yeah.
It's a mature, but I think Jotaro is under 18 technically.
Jotaro is technically 17 years old.
But then
so.
again, over there, I get it. Over there, it's the age is different. The age of doing stuff drinking and smoking.
Yeah, that's what I mean by
17 is legal. Over
by
there,
cultural
from what I hear.
differences. You can drink beer when you're 18 in other parts of the world, but in America you have to be 21. Oh, you have to be 21 to smoke in America now too. I forgot about that.
That's right. You have to be 21.
Yeah. I completely forgot about that 'cause it's such a bizarre law.
You're raising the age to kill yourself.
Yeah. It's not going to stop them.
It's not going to stop.
People are still smoking.
Yeah, people are gonna do what they want, but I don't know, I think censoring some of that, something like that, is just kind of silly.
But then, like speaking of
silly.
animes like JoJo, like look at Cowboy Spike. He smokes. I don't know if you,
But he's an adult though.
Exactly.
He's an adult.
JoJo.
Okay, yeah,
looks,
okay.
JoJo
That's a bad
looks
correlation.
like a 25-year-old man.
Yeah, that's a
JoJo,
bad correlation.
He's like
I'll
he's
take
like,
it back.
He's like a big buff dude, but
he's like 6'5" and 300 pounds of like pure muscle. He's huge.
but he's a high schooler.
But he's in high school.
But the dude looks like, that's what I'm saying. He looks
Yeah.
like a jack dude.
Yeah.
But he's 17.
So technically, even though he looks like he's over like 20, because he's 17, they have to change things, you know.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm not the master of this stuff, but they want it. Hey,
They want it. I
it
guess
still
they'll
exists,
do it.
I guess. Whatever.
That brings up the subject though of like, because people are assuming that this is Sony of America because that's where PlayStation headquarters is located. Actually, it's
Yeah.
in California.
Yeah.
Okay, like
So-
Silicon Valley area.
Maybe I'm not 100% sure, but I wouldn't be surprised because that's where every tech company is now. But people have been kind of pointing the finger at them, like, well, like it must be them because it's only the Sony Western version.
Right.
And they recently put a policy in place last year where they started censoring. They started saying we're going to come down harder on video games because we don't want to like some kind of like weird bizarre like censorship policy because the Sony president of Japan came out last year actually and said it was to protect children.
So he was in support of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
but that to me is like a load of crap though because those are M-rated games. Kids aren't buying those.
They
shouldn't be buying.
They shouldn't be buying
Yeah,
those.
parents shouldn't be going out buying
Yeah.
their kids M-rated games.
And
'Cause
if the kid does have that game, that's the parent's fault. It's not the game's
See,
fault.
this is the issue. We already have the ESRB. Why do we need more extra stuff? Like, we can't really control what these kids are going to buy. It's up to the parents to do it.
Mhm.
So,
Well, the parents don't want to take responsibility though.
exactly. There's a lot of,
Exactly. There's always someone else to blame.
for lack of a better word, dumb parents out here that are
But
letting their
that's-
kids play games.
That's assuming if they actually are trying to protect children.
Sure,
That could just
sure.
be a lie, you know.
Sure, exactly.
Because it could just be Sony. It could just be Sony of America saying, "Hey, we want to cut down on this because maybe
because
maybe that's
we feel
where
this way about a certain,
Yeah.
maybe that's
culture
where
or something.
Yeah, maybe that's where their ideologies lie."
yeah.
And that raises the question of whether what makes it okay for when does it cross the line? When does like our culture? When is like our culture not allowed to like dictate what other cultures are allowed to like? Like, is it okay for us? Is it okay if Sony of America is the one censoring Devil May Cry 5? Is it okay for us to go around and say like, hey, you can't like this to other cultures?
Yeah,
I
it's,
see
it's,
you.
it's a slippery slope because once we start censoring one thing, you got to start censoring other things, right? And
Yeah,
people are not
that's-
going to like that.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah. So I think it's up to people to keep fighting back and say, this is not reasonable censorship, and then we can debate about it. And then
Yeah.
maybe things will change in the future.
Yeah, who knows? It's not gonna. These
Nah,
these
people
things,
are smarter than this.
These
man.
trends always come and go. It's not
Yeah.
going to stick around forever. But in the case of Devil May Cry 5, it doesn't. It's not a case. It's not like I said. Nobody's really like mad about it. It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't ruin the game. The game's still fine. Capcom's going to be fine. The game's going to do fine. The problem I have is when it starts. It was when it affects like smaller like publishers and companies that can't really like fight back
Yeah.
against it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there are games that were coming to the West that got canceled and they didn't know about it, so all their work just went down the toilet for nothing.
like
pretty
indie
much.
games. Or-
Not indie games. Well, some indie games, but
Some indie games get
but like small Japanese publishers that like, kind of like rely on that sort of like that like sort of like etchy like
Right,
kind of
right.
like perverted game market. There's
they appeal to their audience. There's an audience they appeal to. And
there's a market for
then
that.
you got to
and-
blame the audience, I guess.
Well, that there's nothing wrong with enjoying that sort of content. You know,
hey, it's up to you.
That market is allowed to exist. People are allowed to enjoy that sort of thing if that's what they want.
It's true.
And there's so you're allowed if that's what you want to make, you're allowed to make that as a creator. That's my personal
course.
take on that sort of thing.
Of course. Well, then there you go.
But, and
There you
well,
go.
yeah. I guess that's
I guess
censorship laws will always exist. Sometimes they're silly, sometimes they're not. I see why they have them, but in this case, I don't know what's the point.
This is a case where it's a little questionable. It's not like I said. It's not. No, like I said, where it's not something to get mad over, but it's just like it's just really like weird and like makes people. It's something to be wary of as we go forward. So
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah, so
What's next?
if you're the kind of person who enjoys Japanese games, because right now it's only affecting Japanese games, it hasn't really affected any other country's games so far.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're the kind of person who enjoys Japanese games and you kind of want to like play like the pure experience, as some might say, maybe check them out on Xbox or Steam.
Yeah.
Because that's where they're, or PC, because that's where they're
Just get a PC.
that's where they're not censored. Yeah, get a PC.